The plans were mine.
Yours?
Say what now?
I've carefully studied every Justice Leaguer, past and present, and created contingency plans to neutralize you, should that ever become necessary.
You've got to be kidding me.
Neutralize, not kill. Whoever implemented my plans altered them.
It's still a completely unacceptable breach of our trust.
The members of the Justice League are among the most powerful and potentially dangerous people on the planet.
You think one of us would go over to the other side?
Or succumb to mind control. Yes, it's possible.
Hey howdy hey, superheroes and supervillains that are at risk of being defeated by Batman. Wolfman 47 here. So, for a long period of time, Batman spends a lot of time assessing his allies and his enemies in an attempt to ensure that there are always going to be plans in place that he can always refer to should they ever turn bad, go rogue, or just a simple case of just trying to deal with them and not have to think so much. He does this usually in secret, and the reason why he does it is because some of these people may end up doing something really bad that he will need to refer back to them, and it's because of this that the events of Tower of Babel, Justice League Doom, and the Injustice franchise all happen. So, for those who don't know, Tower of Babel is when Tower of Babel and Justice League Doom is when a big major villain from that's a big major Justice League villain manages to acquire the contingency plans and is able to alter them so that they not only weaken the heroes and or villains but also kill them as well. So it's up to Batman to save the Justice League, but also at the same time admit what he did and stop the villains from their big giant plans. And then in the Injustice games, obviously in the Injustice franchise, obviously you all know the Justice League is split, so Batman needs one side, Superman needs another side. Superman is considered the evil side, so obviously Batman needs plans to ensure that he defeats them, and you kind of get the idea of that. So today, rather than go through every single character that Batman and his allies have made contingency plans for, I'm only going to go through like the most popular, most well-known ones, but maybe at some point I will return at a later date to go through others. But for today, we're just going to focus on the popular ones, and believe me, there is a lot to get through, so let's crack on and get through it. So I'm going to start with the Justice League, and obviously let's get the elephant out of the room. Let's get the most obvious and easiest one out of the way first, Superman. Superman, as we all know, is a Kryptonian, so obviously he is weak to any and all forms of kryptonite. So green kryptonite would weaken him, black kryptonite would brainwash him, I think. I might be wrong about that, and I think gold kryptonite would depower him, depending on how you see it. He's also weak to the red sun, so anytime the red sun's out, he will be depowered. He's also very weak to radiation, and does get a lot of critical injuries from nuclear weapons, but not necessarily like super duper critical injuries. He just gets injured, and he also can't see through lead. So that's Superman. So Wonder Woman, we all know her. She's gifted with all these great powers from various gods of Greek mythology, or the DC version of them anyway, and to take her down, she would need to be trapped in a false reality with an undefeatable opponent that she just has to, that's her equal in every way, and she has to keep beating, and then eventually she would pass out. So that would be Wonder Woman. And I think when it comes to Wonder Woman, because she's quite a graceful character usually, losing that composure and so forth is gonna do stuff. So yeah. So next is the Flash. As we all know, the Flash is the Scarlet Speedster. He's the fastest being alive in the DC universe, and he can tap into the Speed Force. Hence why most people would say that he's much faster than the likes of Quicksilver and Sonic the Hedgehog. But in case he needed to be taken down, he would just need to be injected with something that would completely disorientate him, and if running at high speed, this will make him unconscious, or rather he would hit a solid wall or something, and it would basically make him unconscious or critically injured. Or you can just get him in a freezing environment and then he'll just slip up and everything, because obviously it's frozen and everything. So that's the Flash. Aquaman, obviously we all know Aquaman as the King of Atlantis, and basically the sort of DC hero that heavily relies on being around or near water. He's, to my knowledge, he is the only one of his kind that is able to be on land and in the water, because of him being half human, half Atlantean. But anyway, so to take care of him, he'd need to be trapped in a place without water, so basically make him dehydrated. And if Batman had access to Scarecrow's fear toxin, he could use that to make him hydrophobic, so basically not willing to go back into water. So, and that would take care of him. Green Lantern, well, pretty much any Green Lantern really. So Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, John Stewart, and the rest of them. Pretty much any of the Green Lanterns. All you need with them is you need access to Scarecrow's fear toxin, and you'd have to make out that he has lost the battle and therefore has embraced the enemy of willpower, which is of course fear. So yeah, that's that one. Martian Manhunter. Any Martian Manhunter, they are weak to fire, so just exposure to fire would just do that. So that's that. Then we got Shazam, or formerly known as Captain Marvel, until Marvel were like, no, you can't call him Captain Marvel, so they had to stick with Shazam. Obviously, we know he can change forms simply by saying the word Shazam, and then he becomes the superhero, or says Shazam again and he becomes Billy Batson, the kid. And he basically would need to be gagged so that he wouldn't be able to say that name, and that would be that. And because he is technically still a child, he would be particularly weak and to things that are to things that are usually harmful for children, such as alcohol, for example, and some heavy drugs as well. So that's him. Green Arrow, well, Green Arrow is an archer, and pretty much it's a simple one really. He just needs either or both his arms to be immobilized. So basically just carve his arm, or actually no, don't carve his arm. Just make it so injured or hit to the point that it will just ache him to just basically try and shoot a bow and arrow. So that would be the way to deal with Green Arrow. And concluding the Justice League part, we got Cyborg. Now, I know Cyborg technically is also a Teen Titans, but on this occasion I'm going to treat him as a member of the Justice League, because he has in recent years been treated as a member of the Justice League. But anyway, because he's mostly machine and only a little bit of human, this makes it easy for anybody to basically hack into him and to get him shut down. And basically be able to upload a virus or shove an EMP onto him, and that would basically just immobilize him completely. So that's Cyborg. So that's it for the Justice League themselves, or rather the sort of founding members or the most well-known members of the Justice League. So now let's look at the actual Bat family. So when I say Bat family, I'm obviously talking about all Batman and all his different allies. So all the Robins, all the Batgirls, or Alfred Pennyworth, and the rest of them, or just the ones I'm going to talk about right now. So yeah. So first up, Damian Wayne. Damian Wayne is traditionally known as the fourth Robin, known to come from the League of Assassins, because he is effectively Talia's son, and therefore Bruce Wayne's son as a result. He can fight poorly when he's fighting against women, and I know that might sound sexist, but that is what I read up on the wiki. So if he knew he was fighting women, he would be weak to that, because he would try and woo them and all that. And because he's well known to be very arrogant, this can also be a huge weakness that can be exploited as well. So that's that. On the other side of the spectrum, we got Nightwing, the first Robin, who is overconfident that would make it easy for anyone to get a second hit in. So sometimes being overconfident or arrogant can get the better of the heroes, basically. So that's that. And because he has a thing for sexually attractive women, he would also be very aroused, and to the point where some of the more female or more feminine villains would exploit that. Because I'm not sure if it's in all versions, but I know there's some versions or some fan art where it's implied that either Poison Ivy has managed to make Nightwing take all his clothes off, for example, but leave his mask on. And yeah, so yeah, that's Nightwing. To be fair though, most versions of Dick Grayson do make him out to be kind of handsome and cute. So yeah, I wouldn't blame Poison Ivy for doing that. Okay, so Red Hood. Red Hood is the second Robin, so Jason Todd. He would need his adrenaline increased to make his rage come out more, because most of what he does is built heavily on rage, or just use the Joker to get to him, because everybody knows that most versions of Jason Todd have depicted the Joker doing a lot of physical and mental damage to him before he became the Red Hood or the Arkham Knight in the case of the Arkham games. So yeah, that's the Red Hood. Similarly, there's Batgirl, who has also been mentally and physically harmed by the Joker, so someone would need to use the Joker against her to make her weak, or just interfere with her neural implant, which is the thing that Joker did kind of interfere with during the events of The Killing Joke, or generally most versions of Batgirl anyway. And as for Alfred Pennyworth, well, he loves serving the Bat family through thick and thin, and his downfall could be the result of that, just trying to be there for the heroes when they need him, and yeah, would just lead to his ultimate downfall. He is, to my knowledge, the only member of the Bat family who doesn't have a secret identity or anything. He's very much has his identity exposed all over. So, but he knew what he was getting himself into. So yeah. So that's the Bat family themselves. So next up is Task Force X, or otherwise known as the Suicide Squad. So first up, Harley Quinn. Pretty simple, really. Harley Quinn is known to do her best to try and please the Joker, despite the fact that the Joker does abuse her a lot and everything. She's very oblivious to that, or most versions of her are oblivious to that. So using the Joker to get to her would be the way to deal with her. King Shark, so he is basically a shark, or a shark that looks like a Hulk-like shark, and just like sharks in real life, he will develop a sense for blood if he's exposed to blood. So if you need to know more about how to deal with sharks, look up sharks on Wikipedia or whatever, or alternatively talk to my friend, Batman fan, whatever the thing is, because he's a very big shark fan, so talk to him on that. Deadshot, obviously the master assassin. He relies heavily on his senses, so being able to sort of aim and his guns and everything. He does heavily rely on his vision and so forth, so blocking his vision or his senses would make it very easy for him to be defeated. So that's him. Now, most villains do have a lot of past misgivings, and Captain Boomerang is no exception. And when I looked at the wiki, that was kind of like the only only weakness I could find. So basically, someone would need to get into his head to remind him of his past misgivings, and that's the end of that. Now, I know technically Amanda Waller isn't really a member of Task Force X. She's usually the one that sort of assembles them and has access to the bombs implanted in their heads. But in the case of Amanda Waller, should she ever go rogue for whatever reason, you basically just need to find some way to cut her funding, and then she would basically just lose it, basically, because that's Amanda Waller. If she tries to do something good with the team, but then loses funding, she then just loses it. But obviously, no one really trusts her anyway, because she's always very shady and so forth. So yeah. Now, some versions of Task Force X also do have Lex Luthor as part of the team, but again, he kind of is on the sidelines. He's not an active member of the team. But anyway, the economy would just need to crash, and he would be broke as a result, or alternatively, and this is probably the most obvious way to deal with him, expose his obsession with killing Superman, because that's just the way to go about him. So that's it for Task Force X, or the Suicide Squad. So next is the Teen Titans. So obviously the Teen Titans ones would have been done by any one of the Robins that joined the team. So yeah, excuse me. So Teen Titans. So first up, Starfire, who, in my opinion, after seeing that the OG animated series and Teen Titans Go, is the hottest Teen Titan in my opinion. So, so yeah, main cutest. Her captors gave her a lot of drugs, so her drug addiction would need to be exposed in order to deal with her. And just like with any people that are basically her kind, because she is an alien. She's allergic to metallic chromium, so expose her to that and she'd be weakened. So Beast Boy is a particularly interesting one because with Beast Boy he turns into all these different beasts. So the only way to be able to defeat him, well actually no, there's two ways according to the wiki, is you need to either hypnotize him or just find some way to make him not well, and he will basically be weakened and so forth. Also, I guess not an official weakness, but also just being able to transform into a beast and then back to a human again with clothes that are easily rippable would make him exposed as in like naked. So yeah, but you know, most versions of Beast Boy I've seen are pretty cute. So I wouldn't, you know, turn a blind eye if I saw him naked, because he is kind of cute. So, yeah, most versions anyway. Next is Raven, obviously a very complex character in the Teen Titans. She would need to basically weaken her. She would need to let go of her emotions and let rage be like the dominant emotion. So it could destroy the very person that she was and originally. And because she's often known to be very vocal about the powers she uses, like the Incarnate, Azarath, Metron, Zenthos, or however it's pronounced. I think that's the correct pronunciation. She can be gagged, so she won't be able to use her powers or to say those words. So that's that. And that's the Teen Titans. So next, pretty straightforward. These next one, the Batman's Rogue Gallery. So first up is the Joker. So now I know with the Joker, the only time his weakness has been exposed, to my knowledge, has been in Batman Arkham Knight towards the end. But on this occasion, I'm just going to talk about that anyway. So people just need to forget him. So he heavily relies on people remembering him and remembering all the different things that he does. So being able to suddenly forget him would make him vulnerable, and he would feel afraid and petrified of the thought that people would forget the very man that he is or was. So just forgetting him would be the way to go about it. But the thing is, because Joker is the Joker, he does make that very difficult because of all the different major crimes he does, and also the interference he causes with all the other villains. Because let's not forget, the reason why all the villains work so well together in Arkham Knight is because Joker wasn't around. So they were able to coordinate their plans and work together to take down Batman, and they would have eventually succeeded had Joker and it would have succeeded had Scarecrow taken care of Bruce Wayne's soul straight away, rather than deal with him and Joker not realising that there's Joker inside Batman. So yeah. But anyway, so Clayface, because he doesn't technically have a physical form, or he does have a physical form that can be destroyed every so often without actually killing him, you just need to freeze the guy or expose him to water. Pretty much the most accurate portrayal of that would be in the boss battle in Arkham City, where you do face against Clayface, and you get to freeze him, and he gets exposed to that and so forth. Because he's basically all clay, it means exposing him to water, he would struggle to take a more physical form, and freezing him and tearing him apart would, yeah, you get the idea with that. Two-Face, we all know Two-Face. He's well known for relying his actions are always reliant on the flip of a coin. So, if the coin lands on one side, he might decide to spare someone. If it lands on the other side, he'd be like, bang, you're dead. So, getting rid of his coin when he's trying to make a decision would probably mentally break him. So yeah, pretty straightforward, Two-Face is. Poison Ivy, as we all know, very attractive character in most versions I've seen her in, but she has her obsession with trying to keep the world green and keeping the plants safe and everything. So using a weed killer or expose her to a room without any sunlight would basically be the end of her. So that's that. Mr. Freeze. With Mr. Freeze, you kind of have two ways of going about him. Obviously, he has his cryo suit, so finding some way to hack into it using an EMP or something would destroy the suit and it make it impossible for him to move. Or find some way to kidnap his wife or basically cause harm to his wife would get to him. So that's how you deal with Mr. Freeze. I do have a great deal of respect for Mr. Freeze because he is a tragic villain and does do everything he can to try and save his wife, even if it means he has to do villainous deeds in order to do that. So yeah, I do kind of get his motivation behind that. So yeah. The Penguin. The Penguin likes to be the big boss, and he likes to be the big boss of the Mafia, and anytime someone tries to threaten his leadership, it can lead to his downfall because he has the desire to just be the big boss and doesn't like anyone who tries to get in the way of that. So trying to get him to be the big boss but only to realise he's not the boss at all would be his downfall. So that's him. Now Bane's an interesting one because originally Bane would be heavily reliant on his venom to make him all powerful and strong. So venom being this drug that he has to use a sort of suit behind him to pump it up and everything. But the problem is eventually he would get to the point where he was very muscular and everything, so he wouldn't even need the venom to be that. So initially you need to deal with the venom first in order to take him down. But to deal with him without the venom when he's all muscular and so forth, it probably would need a lot of I don't know. You probably need a lot more muscle to take him down with it when he's just doesn't need venom. So yeah, Bane's just a complicated one that you originally had a simple weakness, but now he just doesn't have one at all. So yeah, one that does have a simple weakness is Ra's al Ghul. Now, regardless of whether you pronounce it as Raz or Raish, I've always pronounced it as Ra's al Ghul because that's what Kevin Conroy pronounced it as. So obviously, I'm gonna stick with the one person that really gave a truly definitive Batman. So yeah, Ra's al Ghul. He's addicted to the Lazarus Pit. The Lazarus Pit being this thing that if you throw your body into it, you can be immortal for the rest of your life, but repeated exposure to that would mentally break you and it would make you go insane and all sorts of stuff. So it can affect your mind. So basically destroy all the Lazarus Pits or just keep exposing yourself to Lazarus Pits to the point where you would eventually basically kill yourself without realising. So yeah. And then we got Talia al Ghul. She's just too attracted to Bruce Wayne, so Bruce Wayne can very easily take her down by the sheer fact that she's very attracted to him. So yeah, and of course, I'm going to end this by saying that Batman himself also has a contingency plan in case he himself ever went rogue. And in his case, he wants to save everybody, but often saving everybody isn't always possible. So in this case, he would try to save everyone, but by doing so, it would lead to his own downfall. So, say for example, you got a big building that's all fired up and everything, and Batman would do everything he can to save everybody, but the fact that he tries to save everybody in a building that's on fire would probably lead to his downfall, because by trying to save everyone, he could die in the process, basically. So yeah. So yeah, that is all of Batman's contingency plans against the Justice League, the Teen Titans, the Suicide Squad, his own rogue gallery, and of course one for himself. Obviously, there are probably loads of other contingency plans that he has, and I know a lot of YouTubers spend a lot of time making up contingency plans for characters outside of DC, just to see how Batman would deal with them. And anytime you see someone that says who would win in a fight with no preparation, that's usually because often Batman would need time to get to know the heroes and his villains in order to be able to have these contingency plans. He wouldn't suddenly make them up on the spot. No, he would spend a lot of time assessing them secretly and everything. Obviously, when these plans have been exposed, they do lead to some of his allies and enemies sort of like not really sure if they want to trust him or whatever. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, but yeah, that's all the contingency plans. And obviously, if you have other contingency plans that you'd like me to talk about, do leave your suggestions in the comments below, because this is probably one I will return to at a later date when I've come up with other heroes and villains that Batman has contingency plans for. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that. So thanks so much for watching, and yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe, and the rest of it, if you want to see more of my regularly uploaded videos. I do various vlogs like this on various topics, also gameplay videos where it's straight up gameplay and some memes added for good measure, let's play videos as well, and also random shorts too, which I'm trying my best to not do as many of, because I'd spent much of last year doing way too many. So yeah, I'm trying to cut that down a lot as well. See you in the next one. Peace to you all. And you know, if someone does make a contingency plan to take you down, don't feel offended or afraid or whatever, but do sort of ask why, because sometimes your friends or bosses or whatever might just be doing them in the case that you might just need, you know, that time to, because they might just be worried about you, basically. So yeah, don't take offense to it. They may just be worried, but do talk to them about it in case they do have to use those plans in any event. It's also for that reason why Superman trusts Batman to hold pieces of kryptonite, because he knows Batman would know a way to defeat Superman if he has access to that. So yeah, right. Toodles.
Man, what a bunch of jokers!